Tuesday, February 18th, 2020. Today is going to be a very, very good day. It's currently a little shy of 8 o'clock in the morning. I woke up sort of recently. Wanted to document myself with just morning voice and morning hair and morning everything as I drink my coffee here. Yesterday marked my first anniversary of this diary. It was literally a year ago. I want to talk about this in more detail, but in the meantime, what I have is I'm just going to talk about it now. The original plan was to edit these videos in iMovie for at least for a while, and then maybe I was going to move over to Adobe Premiere or maybe Final Cut. Now I use Final Cut, of course, and I moved over to Final Cut real quick within like the first week. Before that, I had some encoding issues in Final Cut with videos from the iPhone specifically. Like it would be a little weird because the iPhone captures in a variable frame rate rather than a constant one. So if you're one of my buddies that are watching this, if you don't know how those frame rate modes work, a constant frame rate is you tell the phone or the camera or whatever device you're capturing from, I want to capture at 30 frames per second, let's say, and it'll capture at 30 frames per second, 30.00. A variable frame rate, on the other hand, is when you tell your device that you want to capture in 30 FPS, the device says, okay, we're going to give you an average of 30 FPS, but with a little fluctuation. So you'll see frame rates that are anywhere from, let's say, 28.9 to 31.6, let's say. And if you have an NLE, which is a video editing software that supports variable frame rates, it'll be fine because it'll be imported as 30 FPS. But if you have software that doesn't support that, you'll have a problem. So for a long time, Final Cut Pro for some reason had some difficulties with iPhone videos because of those variable frame rates. Same with Adobe Premiere. I think Adobe Premiere may have fixed it by now in like recent-ish updates, but it's an issue that used to plague NLEs for a very, very long time, and so I stayed away from making videos on my iPhone because of that, because I just couldn't really edit them. Well, that is outside of iMovie. So the plan originally for the diary was to edit everything in iMovie, and so initially when I filmed, the first day that I filmed, I imported a bunch of stuff that I filmed into iMovie, and then when I moved over to Final Cut, for some reason, although I deleted the project in iMovie, the media, the actual video footage, stayed somewhere in the iMovie library, and I managed to access it like a while later, and I still have that footage. So I was thinking it might be fun to play here the first moments even before it cuts. It's not very interesting to watch perhaps to anyone from the outside, but for me, and this is my diary, I think it'll be interesting just to see me in those first documented moments on this diary. Today is the day that I'm starting this new project. Let me get my thoughts together, man. Let's pause this, huh? It's 4K. The H.265 format for the video, which is, let me try that again because I flipped the camera off. And because for some reason using either Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere is a little weird to me with the new codec, I'm actually gonna edit these videos with iMovie for a while. I'm doing this right now, just so that I can watch this back later and be like, oh, this was my setup back then in a good old 2019. On that, I'm gonna get off here, I'm gonna get ready to go to work, have a nice productive day, and later. 22nd of February, it's Saturday, and I'm gonna sum up the week. I don't really have a good angle for this. There's a light right on my face, but if I step away from it, like it gets really dark, but whatever. This was a good week. I got a lot of work done, a lot of good things happened. It was very nice and productive, and yet, with all that in mind, there wasn't really a whole lot that happened this week that was film-worthy, as I like to say. Other than my first anniversary of the diary, there wasn't really much that was particularly interesting to film or talk about on camera for the diary. But I will say that it was very nice to come back to the old footage from a year ago and to see some of those outtakes and little bloopers and things that didn't make it in. Include some of that in the entry here. It really makes me glad that I started this whole project to begin with, because I legitimately look and sound and am a different person now than I was a year ago. So I'm very glad that I have this diary and I document stuff and I can then come back to it and look at it and reflect. I think it's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and I'm very glad I'm doing it. So there's that. Other than that, the upcoming week, ooh, this is a nice angle because there's a light that's not actually directly in my face, but actually sort of well lit. Anyway, the next week, the week that's coming up now, is going to be nice. It's going to be a little more relaxed than last week. There's going to be, well, at least right now I have less stuff planned, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see if I have anything that is film worthy next week, anything to talk about here. But either way, TTYL.